Welcome back everybody to Forza Horizon 5, and today we're taking a look at the 2023 Ford F-150 Raptor R. Now this is part of the 14th generation of the F-Series that started in 2020. This version of the Raptor debuted in 2023, and this basically just takes what was in the Raptor and just bumps it up even more with a completely different engine. And new additions like 37-inch diameter tyres, a 330mm ground clearance, and new shock dampers to help deal with the extra speed you'll be getting when going over any kind of jump or bumps. But there are a few issues with this. The fact it weighs 110 pounds more at the front over the standard Raptor due to the larger engine, and it's kind of looks like every kind of SUV off-road vehicle in terms of not being able to see much out of it. It's got huge blind spots, especially when anyone's close to the front of the vehicle, and that for me personally would put me off buying a vehicle of this type, just because you never know if anything's going to be there, and it's very hard to know if anything actually is. Anyone that's a child or a small animal or anything like that, and you're really not going to be able to see them, and that's just not something I could sit comfortably with me driving this for real. But luckily this is a game, so we don't have to worry about that kind of thing. And but interior wise it looks all very nicely equipped, as you'd expect for a car that in terms of the UK at the very least could cost over £100,000. So as you can see, it's got plenty of buttons, a nice array of buttons to be honest, over just everything being in the touch screen. Although a surprising amount, to be honest. I would have expected some of these to have been in a touch screen, but as you can see, you've got a huge variety of buttons here. You've got your aircon, you've got your volume controls on the steering wheel and in the middle of the dashboard. You can also, as you can see, choose the kind of setup for the actual powertrain. So you've got two wheel drive high, you've got four-wheel drive high, four-wheel drive automatic, and then four-wheel drive low. You can actually put this in rear-wheel drive only, despite the massive amount of power it's got going on. Not something I'd personally recommend, but if you want to slightly save on some fuel, then that would be the way to go. But this is not a car where fuel consumption is going to be taken into consideration whatsoever. And ginormous in the back, as you can see, as you'd expect for a car of this size. And then you've also got a pretty sizable bed as well, so should you wish to actually use this as a utility vehicle, but I doubt most people would with a car of this size, this kind of price and power. So power wise, we don't have a EcoBoost V6 anymore under this. We have a 5.2 litre supercharged even V8 engine, which produces a gigantic 700 horsepower and 640 pounds-feet of torque, which is a ginormous amount. That's 250 horsepower more than you get in the standard Raptor, and way more than you'd get in even a V8 powered F-150 from previous generations as well. And that is actually the same amount of horsepower that you get from the Celine Sport Truck, which we also have on this game, although this has 40 extra pounds-feet of torque over that vehicle. Although it needs it, because it does weigh about 350 pounds more than that Sport Truck from Celine, which I personally prefer a little bit more to this. I think this is a bit too much of a show-off kind of vehicle with all of its decals and its accenting and those red tow bars up front. Then you've got your decals all the way down the side. I think the Sport Truck is a little bit more discreet. Still got all of the power that this has, although it's nowhere near as quick in terms of acceleration, which we'll get to when we get this out onto the open road. But that car, just for me, is a little bit more discreet, and being a Celine, it's going to be a lot rarer than this actually is. You can actually get a higher output version of this though, 20 extra horsepower, which I don't see the point in, to be honest. This already has plenty of power on it on the go anyway, and in some regards this actually struggles to deal with the power it's got already. So 20 extra horsepower is not something I'd recommend, especially given this weighs 6,077 pounds, which you're already asking a lot from those brakes and whatnot to deal with when it comes to stopping. An extra 20 horsepower is just going to make that a whole lot worse. Nonetheless though, let's get out onto the open road and see what this car can do. Right, so obviously this is a very large, very heavy truck. you wouldn't expect it to be that quick in terms of acceleration, and yet it is. So let's see how quick by getting it down this drag strip. Then we'll go on a little bit of an off-road course that I go on with these kind of vehicles, and then we'll get it around the track. So yeah, let's see what it can do. So as you can see, it's really rather rapid. Gets through its gears quite nicely. It's also quite high revving as well, and it's around 7,000 RPM. And yeah, it uses that 10-speed gearbox that it's got, 10-speed automatic gearbox that it's got really rather nicely. So yeah, nearly 130 miles an hour there from a 6,000 pound truck, which is not bad at all. So yeah, it just really does show how that power is able to make up for the immense size and weight that this has going on. But if you are in the market for something that is pretty much going to have any go anywhere attitude to it, then yeah, this is going to be that kind of vehicle. But again, like I said with the pickup bed being used, I doubt anyone is really going to use it out on off-road courses or off-road terrain or anything like that, just because of how expensive this actually is. It is, like, at the end of the day, a $100,000 plus truck, and yeah, I don't know about you, but that's quite a lot. Obviously, if it comes to repairs or anything like that, you're going to be liable for them, because at the end of the day, you've chosen to go off-road. And yeah, insurance is really not going to pay out for that, especially when they see you doing jumps and whatnot, because this is more than capable of getting massive airtime whenever it so wishes. So yeah, but there's no doubt that it's capable of doing this kind of things, especially with those massive tyres and the new dampers and the huge amount of ground clearance. Water or most terrain is really not going to get in the way of this truck whatsoever. So yeah. And even though it is a car that is kind of defying physics in terms of how quick it's going and getting it around corners and all of that, it's, at the end of the day, still a fun car to drive in a kind of mad, kind of old school kind of fashion. Because yeah, it's by no means sophisticated at the end of the day. And yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that in terms of all of the off-road capabilities are going to come at the expense of on-road, you know, refinement. Because there's no way that this car with these massive tyres and those new dampers are going to be, it's going to be a particularly joyful drive on the road. But still, you know, if you've got a vehicle that is quick and pretty much able to go anywhere regardless of comfort, then yeah, this is going to be the car for you. So stat wise, well, we're in B class, mid B class, and we can actually compare it to the Celine that I talked about earlier. No, well, maybe not. But yeah, stat wise, this is actually worse in terms of braking and handling over the Celine. It is slightly quicker in terms of acceleration, despite the additional weight, but that extra torque does help benefit this, and no doubt the gearbox has been tuned to help deal with the extra torque and power that this has. But yeah, but nonetheless, let's hear what this car sounds like, and then we'll talk about it some more. So yeah, the engine sounds pretty good. Love that supercharger whine. Certainly gives it a benefit over the EcoBoost engine, which never really has sounded all that great. But it's by no means a car that handles. As you can see, I already slammed it into a wall just because there was massive amounts of understeer that I could not counteract. And yeah, kind of just resembles what I imagine it would be like to drive on normal roads, where it would be a bit of an ordeal to actually drive through anything that is, you know, not a massive wide highway road, to be honest. But then again, this is an American car. Most roads in America are massive. Most roads are more than capable to deal with a car of this kind of weight, and yeah, therefore that kind of thing's not going to be an issue whatsoever. But yeah, when it comes to anything kind of like a corner or anything like that, it's not particularly great, which is unlike the Celine Sport Truck, which granted that is based, I believe, on the 13th generation of the F-Series. But yeah, that is far more agile, far more able to not just deal with the off-road capabilities, but also balance that with the on-road capabilities as well, whereas this, yeah, you can definitely feel that it's just got loads of understeer. But that said, when it comes to straight line speed, it's pretty great. 0 to 16, 3.6 seconds. 0 to 109.1 seconds. And in this game, at least, it will do 164 miles an hour. Although I hear there is an actual limiter on this car for real at 112 miles an hour, because apparently that's all the tyres can take because of how much this actually weighs. And yeah, if you went over anything higher speeds than that, you'd probably have a blowout. So yeah, that kind of says to me that not a lot of thought has actually gone into this car. They've put more thought into just massive amounts of power coming from an engine that is basically a modular V8 still, dating back to the 1990s, and to hell with anything else, to be honest, because it doesn't feel like it's set up for the power that it now has. It's set up for the power it has in terms of off-road capability, but in terms of on-road and certainly on track, it's, yeah, not particularly all that great, quite frankly. And considering it has the R name to it, you'd expect that to, you know, be symptomatic of it being able to deal with, you know, road conditions better and track conditions better, but it just isn't. It's a very arduous car to drive, to be honest, with loads of understeer and not much feedback going on. So yeah, but it's overall a fun vehicle to drive off-road, and it is great to, you know, straight line it, but handling wise you can do a lot better. So you can get this car via the Horizon Race Off, which is a mode that has been added to the game via the current festival playlist, where doing a bunch of off-road vehicle races will unlock this vehicle, and that has been done as a community effort, and it's currently in your gift box on the tab on your messages. So get out there and get it. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, whether or not you enjoy driving it or not. I do for the most part, but I can definitely see its flaws, and hopefully we'll eventually get the new Ford Mustang GT unlocked as well as part of the on-road part of the Horizon Race Off. Nonetheless though, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.